The ladies connected up the last guy on Earth to a milking machine. A strange virus that only affects men threatens to wipe off the planet in not too distant future. It affects their bodies quickly, causing great blood loss and death in a few weeks. Every man on Earth is dead. Women are compelled to burn their bodies. 8 years later, a group known as Wellness rules a town comprised of women totally. Though not long ago, they have learned to move on and welcome life in a world without men despite the disaster that happened not too far back. The primary concern for society is the incapacity to carry on their legacy, but the organization, led by Lane, resolved this by applying sperm kept in previous biobank facilities. The plot focuses on three best friends: Jamie, a widow who lost her husband and son; Pip, a happy and optimistic girl who works for the organization; and Alex, a rebel and severe critic of both the group and its leader. Living in New Zealand, the pals run cattle on a dairy farm. Like the other women, one day they assemble in the hall for a formal function with Lane. Soon, Lane tells them that today's lottery will determine which ladies receive the chance to become pregnant. Alex finds Lane's assertions about a better world dubious and thinks their civilization is far from ideal. Pip attempts to calm her down, but Alex takes her green smoothie and throws it at Lane, staining her beautiful white outfit. The girl has crossed the line and requires swift punishment, so Constable Constant arrests her and takes her to a holding room. Left alone, Alex continues to agitate the law enforcement, but for them, it's a game. She and Constant are lovers discreetly meeting for pleasure. Meanwhile, the women in the hall proceed with the lottery to replace the population. After a few lucky women, Jamie hears her name and realizes she has a chance to become a mother. Knowing nothing will stop them, Alex and Constant make love and discuss plans for the weekend. Their moment is interrupted by Lane, who doesn't understand why the constable shut the door from the inside. Realizing time is running out, the law enforcement officer performs her job and shoots Alex in the back of the skull with an excitement capsule, a momentary mood enhancer used unnaturally. A few days later, Constant brings Alex back to the farm and warns the girls that Alex still needs care, as she is still under the effect of the capsule inserted in her neck. With neither the time nor the ability to care for Alex constantly, the friends strap her to the bed, waiting for her to recover. Later, Jamie heads to the fertilization center, where she learns that she must go through several additional phases before she may become a mother. She receives a medical exam and discovers that she won't be able to carry a child if it's a boy, as the virus will kill him in the womb. At the same time, Pip works in Lane's office and accidentally overhears a conversation between her and a doctor. Pip learns that the leader of the group has secrets but swears not to inform anyone about it. Soon Alex wakes up and learns she has been tied up. Easily escaping her bindings, she notices some notes and follows the instructions set by her companions. They ask her to eat, brush her teeth, and remove the excitement capsule from the back of her neck. Meanwhile, Jamie sees a woman of easy virtue to spend a few hours with her. Jamie laments her late spouse and convinces the woman to wear his cap and jacket. Overcome with nostalgic recollections, Jamie imagines her departed husband, Jackson, and makes love to him, then chats about her forthcoming pregnancy. With the evening, the pals return home to find that Alex is gone and the bathroom is covered with blood. They are puzzled by her disappearance and don't comprehend that she went to visit her mother. An old woman has a mood-enhancing capsule put in her head, leaving her ignorant of her surroundings and emotionless. After seeing her mother, Alex returns home and stains posters of Lane with blood. The pals decide to hunt for her in an old SUV, but along the way, they hit something. At first, they think it's a goat, but quickly realize it's a human body. Jamie fears it might be their friend, but Alex has only just returned home and doesn't grasp what's happening. Turning the body over, the pals are astonished to realize that it's perhaps the last surviving man on Earth. Trying to prove this, they pull at his beard. The man wakes up and lunges at the pals, but they beat him in the head, knocking him asleep again. Pip, Jamie, and Alex pull the man into the barn to decide out what to do with him. Pip, as a faithful worker of the organization, proposes handing him up to Lane, warning that if they don't, they might face retribution in the form of permanent exhilaration. Jamie and Alex ignore their friend's proposal and opt to retain the man, since he urgently needs medical attention. The companions remove a sharp object from his leg and stop the bleeding, but Pip faints from the sight of it. The next morning, the friends wake up to the arrival of Michelle, Lane's deputy, who has come to assess Jamie's well-being and her aptitude to be a good mother. Jamie begs Pip not to disclose the man in the barn, fearful that he would cost her the chance to become a mother. Reluctantly, Pip agrees, but fails to lie successfully during the interview. During the interview with Michelle, Pip and Jamie are noticeably uncomfortable, trying to answer relatively easy questions. After a short chat, Michelle proposes entering the barn to check out their dairy farm, which worries Jamie and Pip as they're sheltering the only man remaining on Earth, an act that might have terrible implications. Meanwhile, Alex inspects the man's things and finds that his name is Bob. He came from a quarantine zone where no survivors should have been. But what terrifies her isn't that among his stuff she finds a newspaper piece with a picture of her mother, which makes Alex nervous. When Bob wakes up, he tries to leave the barn, but Alex stops him, attacking the man. She does everything she can to keep him away from Michelle. Bob is stronger than Alex and attempts to strangle her, but she manages to knock him out with a taser. Hiding his physique, Alex pretends to be exhilarated, and Michelle sympathizes with her companion. Later, Alex returns to interrogate Bob. Having tied him up, she tries to learn why he wants her mother, but Bob refuses to speak to anybody other than the scientist. Alex says that this is impossible, as the scientist was branded mad 4 years ago. She continually talked about surviving males, which led to her being subjected to permanent thrill. Alex threatens Bob with the same fate and vows to implant a capsule in his neck. But at one point, she sees her mother's face before her and recognizes that such treatment isn't right. She destroys the excitement cap and attempts to be more amicable with Bob. As a result, he confesses that there are additional surviving guys, startling Alex. Meanwhile, Jamie returns to the artificial insemination clinic and learns that her application has been refused. Falling into depression, she phones Pip to convey the dreadful news. Pip decides to help and confronts Lane, telling her that Jamie is a strong and deserving lady who would make a fine mother. Lane perceives Pip's attempt to oppose Michelle's judgment as distrust in her colleague, which could lead to punishment. Soon after, Jamie is removed from the list of potential moms, permanently losing her chance to become a mother. Devastated by this, Jamie vows to take serious steps. She walks to the barn and asks Bob to donate biological material for fertilization. She dances in front of him and undresses, but Pip stops her, asking Jamie not to lower herself and sink into lunacy. Pip promises to address the situation on her own. Rushing to the farm, Pip hooks the last man on Earth to the milking machine to extract his semen and give it to Jamie. Meanwhile, Alex conducts her own investigation to expose the group, unaware that Bob is being hunted by a woman who wishes to eliminate him. The next morning, Pip returns to the barn to beg Bob to contribute his biological material once more. The man rejects on principle, as he is treated like an animal. Pip, secretly feeling sympathy and sexual interest, suggests a deal. He will supply the biological material, and they will let him take a shower. Later, Jamie and Alex go to the store where they meet a woman who was also denied fertilization. Despite winning the lotto, she struggles with the rejection but respects the company's decision, which severely annoys Alex. Pip guides the man to the shower, controlling him with a stun pistol and refusing to untie his hands, considering him dangerous. Bob grudgingly accepts and proceeds to the bathroom, conscious that Pip is watching him. Having completed her part of the contract, the male fills a cup with his semen. When Jamie gets home, Pip delivers her the biological material and tries to do it covertly from Alex. Later, Alex walks to the barn to befriend Bob. She offers him a lunch and alcohol, but she gets drunk first, losing control of the situation and assuming they've become best friends. The naive and trusting Alex frees Bob. The man utilizes this opportunity to try to flee, but he crashes face first into a cow, realizing he's too weak for a single trick. Bob returns to the barn and apologizes for his conduct. That evening, Jamie uses the insemination tube only to recall the store worker professing sympathy. She chooses to sacrifice the biological material and anonymously leave it at the woman's house. The next morning, Pip offers Bob breakfast and realizes she wants to have sex with him. Struggling to ignore these thoughts, she rushes to the organization's office. There, she hears that the store worker confessed and turned over the biological material, but she was nonetheless punished with a shot in the back for exulting. Meanwhile, Bob informs them that he has a SIM card that can assist him figure out what to do next and how to find other surviving males. Alex finds an old mobile phone, allowing them to examine the card. They discover a message that reads, "Wake up," but they don't understand the complete plot. Soon later, Pip calls home and, using code language, notifies them that the organization has heard about Bob and a cleanup team is headed to the farm. Pip returns home at the same time as the organization workers and discovers her buddies hiding nearby. They recognize that Jim's actions were risky and now they need to go into hiding. At that moment, an unknown caller reaches Bob and informs him the coordinates of the place where other men are located. The group travels to the assigned spot but doesn't know what to do next. The coordinates take them to a quarantine zone originally used to burn the bodies of men, but there's nothing left here now. At one point, Alex and Bobby go to the restroom when suddenly Bobby discovers a red on the girl's forehead, recognizing she's being targeted by a sniper. The couple makes a run for it and heads back to the car. The huntress has tracked Bobby and is determined to kill him, but her friends are opposed to it. Pip, who is used to following the rules, keeps to the signs, which forces them to go in circles. This allows the huntress to take a few shots before they manage to drive off to a safer area. Most of the roads are closed, so they had to head to the yearly menstruation celebration. The girls hide Bobby behind old blankets, passing him off as a feeble elderly woman. Despite the threat to their lives, Pip continues to obey the rules and plays the dutiful girl. As a result, she gives the car keys to let the others to clean it. The group is forced to hide out at the celebration, which gets more difficult. In an attempt to disguise Bobby and keep his true identity a secret, Pip snatches a pink cup costume amid the mass of partygoers. The group gets divided and can't find each other. Pip rushes to the tent to pass out gifts to young women but observes that the huntress has also arrived at the festival. Running for her life, Pip walks into the maze of self-discovery, where she meets Lane. Lane knows the three girls are sheltering the final remaining male and demands they deliver him to her before nightfall. If they fail, she warns them, she, Jamie, and Alex would face a lifetime of exaltation with a complete loss of identity. Jamie sees one of the girls resemble her late spouse and chases her. As a result, she winds up on the Ferris wheel, seated next to a little girl. The height makes Jamie feel nauseated, and she suddenly realizes she might be pregnant, even if it's unlikely. Alex helps Bobby flee the celebration but spots her mother. The woman is insane and doesn't understand anything, but starts to grow terrified when she sees the huntress, as if she's seen her before. Bobby is forced to flee and hides in the mirror maze. The huntress follows him, and the reunited pals proceed into the maze after them. The mirrored traps split the pals, but they manage to rejoin. In one of the reflections, they see that the huntress has captured Bobby and injected him, rendering him helpless to resist. Not understanding how to find an exit, Pip tries a trick and labels each mirror with red paint. This lets the guys escape the maze and spot the huntress transporting Bobby to her pickup truck. While Pip and Alex try to retrieve the vehicle keys back to start the chase, Jamie catches up with the huntress truck and gets into the pickup's bed. Pip and Alex needs to set aside their differences to attempt and save their pals from the bounty hunter while chasing the pickup truck. Pip is unwilling to break the rules and doesn't speed up, which allows the huntress to escape and retreat to her lair to dispose of Bobby once and for all. Jamie, who is hiding in the truck bed, finds numerous tranquilizer darts and a shovel. Sneaking into the huntress's lair, she attacks her but hesitates in a chaotic moment. Jamie accidentally hits the huntress in the chest with one of the darts, temporarily sending her to sleep. Fleeing the scene, Jamie admits to Bobby that she's pregnant. Trusting her intuition, Pip finds the huntress's hideout and a clue left by her buddy. The group reunites by the bridge beside the river, and it seems like the worst is behind them. The companions recommend returning to the area given by the coordinates, but this time, Bobby will go alone, as the men are waiting for their own person and might have hidden when they noticed the women. As they discuss the strategy, Bobby, Alex, and Jamie don't aware that Pip has betrayed them. Instead of leading them to the coordinates, she brings them to Lane's mansion to hand over the man and earn her boss's forgiveness. Alex and Jamie are held in different rooms, and shortly Lane approaches them, ordering them to change clothing for the impending treatment she planned to perform, eternal exaltation. So they lose contact with reality and no longer interfere with her authority. Alex begs Lane to spare the pregnant Jamie, but this just sparks a fit of wrath in Lane. Meanwhile, Pip prepares for a party where she expects a professional raise. She's given a provocative evening gown but ends up adding a black veil to her clothing to cover herself. At the table, Pip meets the tied Bobby and tries to excuse her actions. At the same time, Constable Constance visits Alex. The constable wants to save the girl because she loves her, but she cannot disobey the organization's laws. Realizing it's the end, Constable says farewell to Alex, and she and Jamie are led to the operating room where the doctor is ready to drill into their heads. Meanwhile, Lane orders Bobby and Pip to make love. Bobby tries to resist, but a throng of outraged ladies keeps him back. Lane thrills Bobby and forces Pip to sleep with him, saying that her friends will suffer if she refuses. Pip accepts and climbs on top, only to find a pendant on Lane's neck, her friend's pendant. Realizing that Alex and Jamie are in jeopardy, Pip rejects Lane for the first time, and as a result, she too is sentenced to exaltation. Constant brings Pip to the surgery room and requests the surgeons to begin her exaltation. First, they decide to ask Lane for permission, and the constable utilizes this opportunity. She shoots the physicians in the back and then helps Pip liberate Jamie and Alex, going to extraordinary measures for the lady she loves. Constant requests to be shot in the back of the head so Lane doesn't uncover or punish her. Realizing this is the ultimate act of love, Alex decides to shoot her boyfriend, and the three companions safely escape. Finding a hideout with costumes, boots, and tasers, the girls prepare to do whatever it takes to stop Lane and liberate Bobby. The next morning, the head of the group brings Bobby to a secret location, but a cow comes on the road. It rapidly becomes evident that it's a trap set by the three companions who surround the car. They electrocute Lane to allow Bobby escape, but he no longer trusts them. This allows Lane to recover and take charge of the situation, as only she has a firearm. Alex, Jamie, and Pip are ready to risk their lives for Bobby and stand in the line of fire, exhibiting courage. Pip attacks Lane, and the friends shock her again. While the three buddies struggle with the boss of the organization, Bobby has escaped. They realize he has gone to the site where it all began and hurry there. Bobby arrives first at the old locker room and speaks the code word, opening the steel door. The buddies hurry after him, and the huntress joins them. The door closes, and they are confined. But things are not as easy as they seem. The huntress doesn't want to hurt them. She wants to aid Bobby and shield him from a threat he's ignorant of. The room starts filling with toxic gas, but the huntress sees a ventilation shaft. She helps the three friends and Bobby climb up, and then informs Alex that she knew her mother, spotting an identical tattoo on the huntress's body. Alex discovers that the huntress is a kind person who never intended to hurt them. As they escape the suffocating smoke, they crawl down the vents, but at one point, Bobby gets trapped and can't move further. The four of them must break open the vent to make an unexpected discovery. They find themselves in a room with other men, all chained and gagged, their bodies hooked to milking machines to harvest biological material. It turns out that the hideout for men is a trap, and Lane had bought Bobby. Her purpose is to take over the globe by controlling birth rates and influencing people prepared to do anything for the continuation of the human species. The most devastating revelation is that Lane's main accomplice and lover is Jackson, Jamie's husband, whom she believed to be dead. Alex, Pip, Jamie, and Bobby realize they are doomed. The heroes are presented with a stark decision: follow the rules or break the system. Are their decisions justified when it comes to surviving and keeping their humanity? Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.